Hey, good morning, friends. Welcome to another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors. Hey, we've got something that resembles safe ice out here in some of the Lake St. Clair canals. I haven't been on the ice in about a month now. We're going to go hit the ice, see what we can find. I hear you got to work for them, but we'll see. Generally, I would prefer not to be fishing canals in February. I'd much rather be on the main body of water. But with the limited ice we have this year, canals were one of my few options this morning. And I was dying to get out and try my brand new custom-made jigging rod. You got one? Nice. It's a start. You know, last year I fished on Super Bowl weekend. I remember it was tough too. Try one more bait. This is the last time I'm switching. Hey, he's got another one. Hey, don't throw that out. Don't throw that back yet. Okay. Things are this slow, I'm desperate for footage. I'm not too proud to film the guy next to me, and, you know. You need forceps instead, a little smaller. What you got there, just a little tungsten jig?
Yeah.
Got a school of babies going. Here you'll notice my jig dropping to the bottom of the water column. Once I get it down to the bottom, you'll notice I'm jigging it very, very close to the bottom. And then you will notice that as I attract some fish, I bring them up off the bottom slightly, and I continue to raise my jig, allowing the fish to follow the jig up until they finally bite. When the fish are this finicky, they are very, very difficult to catch without electronics. Once I had caught about a half dozen fish out of this school of fish, the school got really, really fired up and they got really aggressive. While this school was really, really small perch, I was able to keep them fired up for a good 20 minutes or so, and they were pretty easy to catch. There we go. Look at that.
Go ahead on. Once you go to have the meeting, whatever. Get out of here.
It only took me 2 hours to catch one.
No, it was right.
You guys don't want it, do you? No. Well, friends, that was a terribly unproductive day of fishing. I caught a half dozen perch, not a one of them 4 inches long. Then I caught one rock bass the size of my palm, maybe 8-9 inches. But 7 or 8 fish over 4 hours is not a good day of fishing. However, I had a pretty bad itch that I needed to scratch today. I haven't been on the ice in a month. I did get to test out my new custom-made jigging rod, thanks to my buddy Nick. Love the rod. Friends, there are only 2 kinds of men in this world. There are men who need Jesus in their life, and there are men who need more of Jesus in their life. Whichever one of those 2 you are, I hope you'll take a look at last week's video, the message I taught in last week's video. I hope that you guys will make 2020 the year that you draw closer to Jesus Christ. Hey guys, it's no big secret, and we've talked about this before, but electronics will help you catch fish on the ice. I would have struggled to catch a single fish today had I not been using my electronics, because I would study the way the fish were reacting to my bait, and which would allow me to change up my lure presentation to coax those fish into biting. And you really can't do that without electronics. One of the best tweaks that you can make to your sonar or your flasher is tweak your sensitivity or your gain if you're using a flasher. Tweak your gain or your sensitivity until you can just barely see your jig that you're presenting. Now, if you're presenting a larger size spoon, or if you're presenting a jig and wrap or a rattle and wrap, that's kind of a whole different story. But if you're presenting wax worms or minnows on a jig, dial back that sensitivity until you just barely see your bait in the water. And then anything that's moving around your bait, you know, is fish. But one thing you need to keep in mind, if you set your sensitivity up using a tungsten jig, you probably won't be able to see a lead jig. So what I generally do is I set up my sensitivity using a lead jig. So then if I switch over at any point to a tungsten jig, I can see the tungsten jig very, very clearly. Try that tweak next time you're on the ice. Try dialing back your gain or your sensitivity to where you just barely see your lure. And then you know anything else you see besides that lure is a fish. Especially when the fish are small or the fish are finicky, that'll really help. Hey guys, if you do get out on the ice this year, be safe. Make sure you take that spud bar. What little ice we have right now in Metro Detroit's pretty doggone thin. So use every bit of precaution you can use. Friends, thanks for watching another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors. God bless. Tight lines. We'll see you guys on the water. With the sensitivity set up for the tungsten jig, the lead jigs barely show up.